So let's look at some fascia release work from the bottom up, starting at the foundation, our feet. And I like to do this with a little support of 2 blocks, just so you can take, a healthy forward fold where your back still remains long, placing 1 foot on the double ball and then basically relaxing your feet as you roll alongside your longitudinal arch of your feet or the plantar fascia. And you will realize there's, the whole surface and there may be some spots. So as you notice some spots, feel free to actually stay and pause till that spot releases. And that's really the key action of fascia work, is to make sure there's a release factor. Yeah, the breath deepens, the face relaxes, the body areas around the spots you're working soften, and then you move on. So moving on into the calf structure, place a block longitudinal on your balls, and then we basically work this area from the Achilles tendon region all the way up into the calf belly. And you will realize quickly where the work needs to be done for your calves. And by tilting the weight onto the inner muscle belly, the inner ball, or the outer muscle belly of the gastrocnemius muscle, you'll catch different spots. Try to relax the foot as you find those spots, and then you can stay to release specific spots. Okay, so let's work up the structure of the hamstring tendons. I'm going to do a 2-in-1 action by placing the ball, starting deeper in the knee, and slowly sitting back, putting weight on it. You can do this even symmetric, and by leaning more in, I get more of the inner belly. By leaning more out, I get more of the outer belly. And all these hamstring tendons, you want to make sure they have the capacity to split in between. You can start this seated by placing the weight onto your hands and then basically just bringing the ball slightly underneath your seat, moving that thigh outside. So we are really on the soft tissue here, on the groups of gluteus medius, maximus medius, and minimus here as I move to the side. And it is also very accessible by doing the same thing, but onto 1 stage lower by placing the balls, lifting the pelvis up, and then bringing the weight on it as you please. You can have the balls however they work for you. They can also be longitudinal. You can't break anything here. And when you get your spots, here can have a nice roll out and in. If you have your spots, you just stay and breathe, pause. And sometimes you will realize that your glutes flexing against the pressure. See if you can ease on that. So the release is happening. Working our way up into the lumbar fascia, we're gonna go supine onto our forearms though, taking a bit of weight off. And I want you to actively flex your lumbar spine as we explore the region between pelvis and thoracic spine. And with the balls sideways, leaving some space here for, the processes. We're gonna flex the spine, so don't let it go passively back. Really flex the spine to expose the muscle group. And then you basically roll up and down, taking off as much weight as you need. And then when I find my spots in the QL muscle, which is oftentimes on one side, more noticeable than the other, you just bring more weight into that side. Yeah, keeping the long lumbar spine flexed. Moving into the sweetest area of all, the upper back. So we're gonna use the ball alongside the thoracic spine, excluding the cervical spine, through the supine position first, okay? And you know, this takes a little getting used to. When you just start with that work, oftentimes the intensity is too high, so I'll give you a modification in a second. But otherwise, you roll the lower thoracic with some weight off. And if you dare, without hurting yourself or getting sharp pain sensation, discomfort's fine, and we'll work through that discomfort and basically transform potential discomfort into more ease and more transparency. And then when you lift your seat, you have your freedom here to slowly roll, supporting the head into a light flexion. And right now with the weight left and right, mobilizing also those ribs. And when you realize or find an area that is more speaking to you, you can also lower the pelvis. We'll take some weight off. And then lean into the side you're actually targeting. Okay. If more weight needs to be taken off, you can support your head. And then it becomes milder. Also, a trick can be to go into a softer area, perhaps a thick carpet, so the balls sink in and will take away some intensity. And then once I'm in my upper thoracic spine, so I'm now between my shoulder blades, yeah, I have a really nice way to turn it around. So now taking the block under the pelvis. As higher as I go, the more pressure. I can do a little rolling, and the rolling is, you know, it's minor. It's about 1 centimeter of breath, so it's quite slow. And I can add the release by not just leaning into the side I want to access. I'm now in the rhomboids and my levator scapula region, but I can also do that with some arm motions by adducting the arm, exposing the space between shoulder blade and vertebra. Oh, this was good. It's so self-efficient. That's what I love about it, that oftentimes we can just help ourselves when we get some knots and tension building in the body that may potentially, you know, increase into pain, more pain. And then eagle arms work really nice when I'm static. So static with the balls, but I'm actually moving the tissue through an eagle arm motion. So basically when you use your fingers first, you feel the cervical spine, and then you already have the area of the skull where your typically hair starts growing. So this occipital ridge is often really great to work with, especially if you have tension headaches. And we're going to place the balls exactly where we have the fingers. It's crucial to always hold them. Take a slight double chin motion and then just place the head. And for some of us, this is sufficient, right? To give a little traction onto the balls in that double chin position and breathe. It's quite intense. So if it's too strong and it causes you more tension, make sure you place a little layer of, you know, a towel or a tissue on top. And then the second option after the traction and breathing is to move the heads to the left, getting more
the attachments of all those occipital muscles, including also traps and levator, insertion spots, and I move it to the right. Gonna go a little lower as well, keeping that double chin. Just light movement left and right.